Hello and welcome to the Design Unseen podcast. This is our first episode, and today I have got Taylor Woody, one of Kappler's interior designers. Taylor, say hi.
Hello. So happy to be here.
Happy to have you. And so, not like I don't see you upstairs every single day, but I'm very happy to have you anyways. So, today I want to kind of introduce what Design Unseen is really going to be. It's going to be something that we hope is going to give a little bit more insight into how Kappler looks at things differently and how the dentists, the medical practitioners, the people that we work with look at the world and look at patient care differently. So with this, we aim to tell you a little bit about everything from our process when it comes to the efficiency of your practice, the building, the actual oversight of the process, to the actual design and how everything really comes together in this beautiful visual way to make your patients happy and actually make you enjoy the 40 hours or probably more a week you spend at the office. So I'm very excited. And I think that's my side of it is just very general when I talk about Kappler and what we are, who we are, how we act, because I'm on kind of sales, client relations side, but Taylor, you're on the design side. You're in it
Right.
every single day. So for you, how is Kappler different than any other place?
Yeah, I would say Kappler is different because we can't be really put into a box of, oh, we just do one thing. And we really take the project and we take what our clients come to us with and we turn it into an entire workflow and process from start to finish. So we're not just looking at designing the space with nice colors, or we're also not just looking at making sure that your floor plan is set up for success. It's looking at everything from start to finish and looking at those details. And I think that setting us apart by changing the perspective on how we approach the projects and how we approach even just our workflow and internal day-to-day is what really sets us apart. And it's honestly too just the level of care that we put into our projects, that we want these practices to succeed and we want to help them grow and see more patients and expand, that ultimately it just makes us different.
Yeah. Well, and with what we do is comprehensive
Right.
because a lot of these people are coming. They have an interior designer over here. They have a consultant over here. They have a dental dealer. Then there's a contractor getting involved. Then there's the architect off on the other side that they never even talk to. So we take all of that planning, that consultation, that future proofing and put it into one nice big package because all of it matters and goes together. You
Right.
don't want that passing through 5 different parties. The plans for your business passing through that many different parties, how warped is that going to get? And is the original design intent, the original way we built everything really going to be conveyed at the end?
Right.
Usually not. So how do we, on the design side, kind of help really pull all those elements together?
Yeah, when it comes to the projects themselves, there's different, like you said, categories of we have the architecture, we have the floor plan, we have the design, which is more of that cosmetic, we have the cabinetry, we have the engineering, and we have all of these different things that come together to make this beautiful space. And with us, what we do is we take each individual phase and then we see how they work together, because you can isolate them where yes, they're different departments. They're different phases. They achieve different things where your floor plan is going to help you as a doctor achieve more financial goals, where you can have more patients, you can have a better flow, you can hire better staff, whereas your design may give you more of that physical achievement where the space looks pretty, you have a really nice color on the wall, you have a lot of texture, you have plants everywhere. But ultimately, they work together. They're not separate entities. They come together for one big purpose and one big end goal. So for us, from the start of the project, we're thinking about the end. And when we're at the end, we're still going back to the beginning of where we started and the routes that we took to ultimately achieve this space and make sure that each individual phase works together and does not seem isolated. Because like you were saying, I find that when you isolate things or when you have a lot of different parties or you have a lot of different gaps, it's where things fall through the cracks or things are missed or maybe they're not fully executed like they were planned
Yeah.
in the beginning, and then that can really be detrimental to the project.
Yeah. And it's kind of like when I've seen it before where somebody will come to us and they have this really, really beautiful design, but you walk into that space and the experience of walking through, the staff are confused, the patients are stressed out, they don't know where to go, they don't know what's happening, it's inefficient, the storage is everywhere
Yep.
instead of
Yep.
centralized, so all of these things, so it's just gets so nuanced and very specific to be able to bring the 2 together, not just space planning alone, not just design alone, but they have to work together, the psychology of the looks, all of those things.
Because it's, yes, we are designers, we are an architecture firm, we create these floor plans, and that's something that is very common in our industry, but we take it a step further because we have the knowledge of the dental industry and the medical industry that these floor plans we're creating are not just because this is what fits in the space or that this is what rooms we can fit or this is, the best layout architecturally. It's also, okay, when someone is walking in the space and when you have new staff that's coming in to work in your space, how can we maximize the square footage that you're paying for? And how can we
Mhm.
maximize the flow for your patients so that, like you said, they don't feel confused? How can we make sure that your clinical areas, being your sterilization and your operatories, are laid out efficiently enough that you can make more money, you can see more patients, and we can take that mental load off of your staff and your team, ultimately creating a better experience for your staff and for your patients.
Mhm.
And that thought process takes time. And that's why, too, we spend maybe a little bit of extra time in the beginning really honing in on that floor plan, because if the floor plan is not right or there's things missing or maybe we're compromising in certain areas that I would say we shouldn't, the project can fall apart easily. No matter what color we put on the wall, if your sterilization isn't set up properly to serve the amount of treatment rooms that you have, you ultimately can't focus on your practice goals of expanding. And
Yeah.
that's really what we try to focus on and really make sure that that piece is good and then see how the rest falls into place.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how the space looks if everybody's bumbling around, they really actually aren't doing
Exactly.
their job in a happy and productive way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how good the experience of walking through the practice is and how productive the floor plan is, if the second your patient walks in that space, they don't have trust immediately.
Yeah.
They don't look at this space and know where their money is going and know what they're spending their money on, this beautiful space and beautiful experience.
Yes. Because we always like to make sure that, yes, of course, this is a dental practice or this is even just a medical practice, but we want to give the feeling and that entrance when patients walk in the door that they're not just at a typical medical practice
Yeah.
or, your traditional dental office. That's not our goal. Our goal is to create this experience that really mimics boutique hotels and spas, and even looking into pediatrics where we're mimicking a natural environment of a playground or something that's outside, and we're bringing all of those elements and things that you usually go out and see in the world not in a medical environment,
Mhm.
and we're shifting the industry to bring those types of designs into these spaces that maybe weren't considered before. And I think my favorite thing I always hear is when a patient, goes into one of our practices and always says, I would never have guessed that this was a dental office
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
didn't know. Or if, the logo didn't say dental. And that's a huge compliment for us because that means to me that we achieved what we were trying to do. And seeing the reaction of, this not being your traditional office is exactly what we're trying to do.
I think that also comes into play with us being a European-based company. Kappler's more than at this point
Yeah.
75 years old.
Yes.
We started in cabinetry, very large focus on medical, very, very large focus on dental eventually. And we did so many different medical practices of all different variations in Europe,
Yep.
right? And so we started in this space where they just treat patient care so differently. You walk into a space there and it never feels like it does here. Americanized version of these and we use dental a lot because we have a large focus on dental, but these dental offices really feel like a production facility with the Dairy Queen, the
Yep.
Dairy Queen window up at the front, the big giant waiting room that no one's using,
Yep.
people all around you when you're having these serious conversations, and then "Oh, I'm hearing drills in the back and there's carpet on the floor."
Uh, 100%. And one thing that I've learned so much too over my time here is that it's all about the details and the philosophy
Mhm.
behind why we do what we do, because there are certain reasons why we advise for things or against things, and a lot of it is backed by research and facts. And the way that the human mind is really affects the way that we approach different spaces. And it's something that, of course, we could probably do another 5 episodes on how
Yeah,
the human brain works
yeah.
and how we interpret patterns and visuals. But just to kind of summarize it, and just for the sake of this conversation, it impacts the way that we view a waiting area, or how we view when you walk in and there's a very large, intimidating reception desk. Your brain immediately doesn't like that. It's going to feel a little bit uneasy whether or not you're comfortable in that environment, whether or not the finish on the wall looks pretty.
Yeah.
And when you go into certain areas where maybe there's more of a lounge or you have more privacy where you're sitting and waiting, let's look at a patient who maybe does have extreme anxiety going to the dentist, because that is very common, especially here in the States.
Mhm.
That is already going to help them feel better when they have a private waiting area. They don't feel like when they're talking to the receptionist, everyone in the
Yeah.
space can hear them because their voice is echoing or there's no privacy. And small things like that may seem very minuscule, but they add up and they can make or break whether a patient returns. And it can also just set up whether the appointment's gonna go well or not. If they're already nervous before they even get in the chair, that's not good, and that's not what we want, and we can help fix that by laying out your space differently. It's the same square footage, whether you have a large waiting area and a large reception desk, or a small reception desk and a small waiting area. If anything, we're saving more space that we can use for the clinical areas because 'cause we're minimizing
Yeah.
the amount of footprint, because it's all about laying it out efficiently and making sure that your patients feel welcomed and the space is there to serve them, and not them feeling like they're walking into something
Mhm.
too intimidating.
And to kind of bring it back, you touched on a very important word, that philosophy word,
Yeah.
which I think is something that us at our core as a company, we always fall back on ourselves,
Yep.
right? Because our philosophy is the reason why we're designing things the way they do, the reason why we're working with the people that we work with, the reason why we make these spaces and actually really care about the patient experience. But it's also the whole point of our philosophy is to help with your philosophy as the practice owner,
Yep.
right? So we're building a business with these people. The whole thing that you just explained is just this massive experience of what do you want your client to actually feel? Like, do you care about that? Are you thinking about those touch points? Are you thinking about, are they going to come into this space and leave me a good review?
Yep.
Are they going to come into the space and feel comfortable telling their brother or their sister that they should come here and they'd feel good about it?
And I think too, what I see a lot is our clients come to us and they, oh, I want to achieve this really nice spa like feel. I want to enhance the patient experience, but they don't know how to do it, which they're not supposed to, because
No,
their
yeah.
expertise is dental and they're doing really good work and they're doing really awesome cases that they want to promote and they want to get their brand out there,
Yeah.
expand. So for me, like, I take that on as, okay, we have the same end goal. We have the same values where we care about the patient. That at the end of the day is really what it's all about. So let's achieve that, and let me help you by using my knowledge on how to do the architecture and how to do the design so that we can create that common end goal. And by doing that, we can really create something beautiful.
Mhm. I I really love the way that we approach it, and it's just such a more collaborative experience.
Yep.
That's why we offer this comprehensive approach because we want to take you through every single step of the planning process to ensure that when this thing is built, it's something you understand, something that promotes your goals, something that will carry you through the future. You're making a big investment. Sure, there's some people that are like, I want to sell the space in maybe a couple of years,
Right.
da, da, da. And I completely understand that. But most people, especially startups these days, especially those that are really pushing into having their own space or even going into their second practice or remodeling finally after a really long time, this is a massive investment. This is something you've built so much on. You've built these patient relationships. You've built the educational background to be able to start your own practice. You've built the expertise. Like, let us help you take it to the next level. You don't have to be a mastermind. We are going to help make sure that you avoid those pitfalls that we always see.
Yep. And we can do it 100 different ways because we work with clients that, like you said, we have startups. We have some where this is their second practice. We have some where they're just expanding, they're remodeling, or they're outgrowing their practice, which always tends to be a good thing where you're doing really well. So, like you said, let's take it to the next level and let's really show the industry and let's show America what
Yes.
dentistry can really become because that's like, I don't know, it makes me sometimes a little maybe sad, I guess, that
Mhm.
the industry is where it is right now
Yeah.
because I think there's just so much potential and really we can revolutionize the way that we approach care because why is dental the only specialty in the medical field that is practiced in open rooms?
Makes no
And
sense.
I know that Julia has talked about this multiple times where you walk into your regular primary care physician and you're not in an open room where everyone
Mhm.
can hear. You're not getting treated in an open bay with just small little dividers. You go into a closed room. So why is dental then approached differently? Because in my opinion, you're more vulnerable at
Yeah.
the dentist because you're laying there, you're staring up at the ceiling. It can just be a little bit more anxiety inducing. Plus, a lot of
Yes.
the equipment is louder. So, for me, I view it as this is something that is a necessity that we need to focus on the patient experience. We need to bring the idea of going to the dentist as not a scary thing. It is an experience. It is not just like going to the regular doctor because we have cosmetic dentistry becoming more prevalent, and we see more of medical aesthetic services being
Yeah.
implemented with dentistry as well. A lot of our clients are moving into the wellness space that there is room to really make this not just your standard medical trip where you're just going to a medical provider. So,
It makes no sense. It
yeah,
makes no sense to not protect your investment.
yeah,
It makes no sense to not really put the work into making sure that your patients are going to feel cared for and want to come back. But I also, jumping off that, I have seen so many people come to us that are expanding their services into holistic dentistry.
hmm,
Dentistry is there's so much of a box that people are putting themselves in and the industry is putting itself in with it starts with the way that the practice is designed just for output, which creates 5 more problems that actually hurt the output, right? And then it kind of transforms into, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna be bread and butter dentistry for the rest of my life. That's what I know." And I'm so happy to see so many people kinda saying, "I'm gonna go back and get some more education in whatever specialty I want." But I love to see these people coming out and saying, "I wanna take a more holistic approach for my patients."
yeah,
I want to actually give them a whole body, like, just care. I wanna actually take care of the root cause of these problems. I wanna do the saliva test. I wanna do the red light therapy. I wanna do all of these things, and even if you can't do those now, even if it's something where you're bread and butter and you don't even know what you wanna go into, but you're starting a practice, let us prep you for the future.
yes,
Let us make that space available to you. You have it. Let's make it so that you can grow into whatever you wanna grow into.
because it also comes down to you're spending the money to build the space no matter what.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, let's plan for the future. And that's what we do a lot of times when clients sign with us. We sit down with them. We're like, okay, what are your goals? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Is this your long term practice? Or are you looking to maybe expand to a different location or expand to a larger space if there's, a suite next door that you can move into? Where do you see your brand going? Because that to me helps me get into the perspective of how I can best help them. And it helps
Mhm.
frame my mindset of, okay, this is where we need to maximize the space. This is where we can compromise in order for you to achieve those goals because the build out price is going to be the same whether we have open treatment rooms or closed in a
Yeah.
sense. I mean, give or take, but It's not like what we're proposing and kind of our approach to dentistry is something that is super unachievable. It is
Yeah.
100% achievable because you're going to build the space no matter what. It's just, are you going to build it with the future in mind, or are you just going to build it to build it?
Mhm.
Like a standard everyday office.
And then come to us later, 5 years down the line, saying this isn't working, and we're like,
Yeah.
"Well, look at your floor plan."
Right.
Right? Go back to the beginning. We can't just put lipstick we can't just put lipstick on a pig. We
Right.
can't do that. It would be a disservice to you. It would be a disservice to your patients because it's a bad experience to your staff. It's a bad experience. It's a bad storage. It's a bad workflow. It's a bad whatever it is. But let's actually get to the root cause of your problem. Let's take a more holistic approach on your practice. All of these things. But I know that we've kind of done the whole kind of sales pitch for Kappler, as we always do day to day, but kind of pulling it away from that because I have you here.
Yep.
Let me ask specifically, we're talking about floor plan, we're talking about design, and I don't want to get too into either one of those because I know that we have many more episodes that we're going to take to get into those. But when it comes to floor plan and design, in what are the ways or what are your favorite ways as a designer that goes through this every single day that they really come together? Like, what are the intersections of the design and floor plan that really hit for you, whether it's in the patient experience, whether it's in the operatory, whether it's in the staff lounge? Like, how does that really hit you?
I would say, well, kind of two categories, because for me, the floor plan, I love playing with architectural accents that I
Yeah.
can use to really make the design. And for me, one of my signatures is curved walls,
I
especially
love
curved
it.
logo walls.
I love when I see those floor
So
plans come up and it's just like a playground. I love it.
you can usually spot one of my floor plans
Mm-hmm.
a mile away, I feel like, in this company. So, yeah, I have kind of my standard that I love to go to. And if it works in the space, I love to incorporate curves where I can, just because it makes it feel more natural, and not every
Mm.
space would benefit from something like a curve or something more of that kind of organic shape. Some spaces really are maximized with linear walls, and that's the design, and that's perfectly fine. It's not that one's better than the other. I just really like the idea of arches and curves because it gives more of a natural feel, because when you walk outside, you see more circular elements, you see more rounded elements, you don't see very strict lines. It's not natural. So,
Yeah,
oh,
well,
go ahead.
no, I was about to just jump in because I feel like I hear our clients say all the time, "I just want the space to not be so sterile."
Yeah.
That's one way in the bones of the practice to make it more organic.
Yes. So that's one thing that I always love to do, where, a lot of times when I'm doing a floor plan, I'll lay out the space of, okay, this is what I can fit. This is the overall flow. This is where the traffic will go. And then how can I just kind of add some things here and there? Can I add a built-in niche? Can I add, a curved corner here? Or can we add some glass here? Just something to give it really just a little sprinkle of fun. And then once the space is, kind of in 3D and we're working through the design, I love to play with texture and I love to play with lighting. Those
Yeah.
are my two favorite things. And lighting is something I think is just very underrated because you have to illuminate the space regardless. So there's ways that we can implement lighting techniques or lighting designs to make the space feel not sterile,
Mhm.
but also really fun and unique. And that's going to give more to the design without having to add extra to the budget,
Mhm.
because that's always something that we want to make sure we fall under. And for me, it's just something that I think is very, very important. It's what people's eyes are drawn to when they're walking through the space, is how the lighting is laid out, how it's layered, where we have cove lights, we have pendants, we have maybe lighting on the wall and not just in the ceiling. There's a lot of ways to achieve that. And then going into texture for me is just a huge thing that, we could have a white box, but if we add some wood or maybe we add textured wallpaper, it's going to bring the space alive without, again, having to add a lot of additional furniture or accessories. It's going to really hone in on that less is more approach, which is something that I would say we specialize in, where we have very sleek and modern designs. But I think sometimes what gets overlooked is that if your space itself architecturally is beautiful, you don't need a lot of extra things to make it pretty.
Yep.
And if I can't walk into a space without furniture, without accessories, and I don't already think, wow, this is stunning, the furniture isn't really going to do much because that's temporary. That's not built in. That
Mhm.
can easily be removed. And then what are you left with?
Exactly. And I that's our job, right? Like things that you've said here, it's our job to be strategic with what are we what are the bones of this practice? What can we add on later super easily? How are we staying within that budget now? How do we want to expand upon that later? It's all just kind of creating this plan with
Yeah,
them to really open the space into what they want it to be.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many possibilities and things that we play with or try to do and new ideas that we're coming up with. And the biggest thing for us is that we don't like to follow trends.
Yeah.
We have very, I would say, very specific standards and guidelines we follow just as a company, and in not in the sense of color limitations, but just ways that we like to make the space feel. And again, that's based on facts and the way that the human brain
Mhm.
processes patterns and things. And we never want to come across as we are just following the trends. I like to say we are making the trends, and
Yes.
we are really establishing the trends in the industry and establishing what it means to create really unique spaces in the medical environment while without breaking the budget and without sacrificing the functionality. Because if
Mhm.
you don't have functionality, you don't have anything, honestly.
No.
We can have aesthetics, but without the function of the space and the way that you're bringing patients in, again, going back to the space plan, the practice falls apart and the project falls apart. So that's just kind of how I view we can have really nice texture, we can have nice lighting, we have a nice floor plan. To me, the project is unstoppable. It's top
Literally.
tier.
Literally. I honestly see you working every day and I don't even understand how you put all those puzzle pieces together, but somehow you do it.
It's fun.
Right?
It's a good challenge. It keeps my mind sharp.
Yes.
So that's the important part. Yeah.
While managing making this space something that this dentist is actually gonna like walking
Yeah.
into every
Yep.
day, and the staff's gonna be happy, and the office manager's gonna like her office, and like all of these things. It's
All the
just
things.
so many different scales and balancing acts, but at the end of the day, something so beautiful comes up, and I get so excited every single time you show me the renderings. It's just like candy. It's
Yeah.
oh, so good.
It's it's a lot of fun, and I like to say it's a science because it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a degree in this field, and then, taking it a step further with having a lot of this dental knowledge now that I know a lot about the equipment and the way that their practices are run, that to me, it's very, very special in my opinion. And this, I don't know what we want to call it, but this atmosphere and kind of this feeling that we've created, I think we're really shaking up the industry. We're innovating things. We're coming up with new ideas and approaches to the way doctors practice in their space. And I can see the ripple effect of how we really are changing the industry.
100%. I love you so much. It's just really cool to get to talk to you, to get to see the effect. I know that when I talk to a client, if I give them to Taylor Woody, it's gonna be it's gonna be
I
beautiful.
appreciate that.
I love it. So
Yes,
I really appreciate you talking with me
of
today.
course.
And I think we're going to be doing a lot more of these together.
Yes.
So I cannot wait to dive into 50 more topics, 50 more ways, because I know we could talk each other's heads off about this stuff and we haven't even
Absolutely.
scratched the surface.
No, no, no. Yeah, this was just the intro. There's more. There's
There's
more
so
up
much
here that I can
more.
talk about.
There's so
Yes.
much more. So, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, I would really appreciate it if you do comment. Let us know what you'd like to hear about. Let us know what questions you have because we've got a million and one topics and we will just keep going crazy unless you direct us a little bit to what you want. So, thank you so much again for watching our first episode. We are so excited to really dive into this and actually talk and communicate with each other and with you guys to bring these thoughts and ideas to life. So, again, cannot wait to see you in the next time.